Still Wakes the Deep shows hints of greatness in between the gamified moments when the story is able to breathe, the performances are able to shine, and the composition is able to set the tone. Unfortunately, these moments are fused together with the same problems of many other horror titles. Before jumping into our review, we just want to take a quick second to talk about our 2024 goals as an outlet, and you can help us reach our main goal, which is getting to 15,000 subscribers. If you're unfamiliar, we're trying to take content creation to a more elevated and positive environment without toxicity. If you enjoy what we're doing, consider subscribing, liking the video, or sharing with a friend that you think might enjoy it. Any or all of these will make a big difference in the algorithm. When it comes to horror games, the meaning usually lies deeper than the surface, and Still Wakes the Deep is no exception. The reasoning for the time period and the setting of Still Wakes the Deep became quite apparent as the story unraveled and began to reveal itself. There was almost no better representation of burying your feelings and distancing yourself from others than an oil rig hundreds of miles from the rest of humanity, especially in a time when burying your emotions down deep was considered the better option. Or maybe it's just about a guy trying to survive an otherworldly Lovecraftian event, and whatever you decide, this does speak to the depth of the emotional complexity of the game to even debate its meaning. Without combat and weapons, the focus of Still Wakes the Deep is about a story of one man and his decision to run away from reality. The audio of Still Wakes the Deep is sublime across the board, the voice acting is top tier, the atmospheric audio is excellent, and the score is extremely versatile. There are some eye-popping set pieces, but unfortunately, most of the game feels like any other horror title with dark, claustrophobic areas and a dim flashlight. Sometimes the game did require the cliched sneaking sections, and as expected, these became a bit tedious as the enemy AI was a bit frustrating to work with. Trigger alert, most things on an authentic offshore oil rig would be yellow for cautionary purposes, but if you don't like being guided by the invisible yellow hand on where to go next, Still Wakes the Deep will not be your cup of tea. Like almost all horror games and movies, most of the fear is removed once you see what's causing the fear to begin with, and Still Wakes the Deep is no exception. The atmosphere of the rig was tense enough, and holding off on that reveal until later in the game likely would have went a long way in keeping the tension at an extreme high level for a longer period of time. The setting of Still Wakes the Deep is already a bit of a nightmare. Stranded on an offshore oil rig hundreds of miles from the coast, detached from civilization, claustrophobic, dark, and loaded with deeper meanings. Still Wakes the Deep doesn't break any new ground for the genre outside of the setting, which was novel, and the audio, which was incredible across the board, but unfortunately, it does fall victim to the same problems of many other horror titles: repetitive missions, tired gameplay mechanics, and predictability. Nevertheless, Still Wakes the Deep is a slow-burning psychological horror with a story worthy enough to push past some genre cliches. Until next time, remember to be nice to your fellow gamer, but more importantly, be nice to your fellow human.